Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's live webinar. I'm your host, Dr. 𝗘𝐃𝗲𝐻. As you know, this is a little bit unusual time that we do usually our live on Wednesday and Thursday, every week or every other week from our usual channels. But today we have a very special live, and we will continue this live in next 6 months, every Tuesday from 11 to 12 for 45 minutes. And we are doing this live. As you may know that I joined Accessadvisr as a business development director of business development. And I'm working hand to hand with Rob Trent. So we're going to be introducing Accessadvisr today, and as well as discuss the core motivation of Accessadvisr, why it is necessary, really needed, and the behind of the great cause that Rob has bring forward to attract people and work with disabled people around the world to make it happen. So we have our special guest, Rob Trent. And you probably already know Rob Trent. I knew him for a few months now, working with 𝗘𝘃𝗲𝐻𝗁, and now we become friends, and now we are working together. So, Rob, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you very much for inviting me onto the webinar, and thank you for the work that you're helping us do with Accessadvisr. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob. Because, you know, your project, Accessadvisr, it has a depth, and as well as I was thinking while doing a lot of technological innovation and a lot of other things, that accessibility is core for a disabled person. As myself disabled, and you as well, and many other people engaged with these Accessadvisr initiatives, 90%, majority of them are disabled person. So when we go outside, if you see me normally, you don't feel that I'm disabled, because I used to use a stick, and now I don't use a sticks, because I was I was in like bullying and all other things. People bullied me. When they see me, they think that I am a fully workable person. They don't see the internal things and all other disabilities I have. So then I just stop taking my stick. It's hard. It's hard, but it's just I have make my decision to do that. But many other people, if they want to, they can't, because they might need a wheelchair, they might need a stick, or they might need some of the aids that is made for them, tailored to them. And I have experience going to a place in relation with day-to-day activities, shopping, and a lot of other things. Accessibility is not there. And when I see that you're working with a great cause, I couldn't stop me, because I think working with you, we can grow this project to the next levels. So I just wanted to set the scene here. If you could introduce our audience about you and about Accessadvisr, that would be great.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Obviously, I'm Rob Trent. I'm in my 60s now, so I've faced accessibility issues for a very long time. Where can I start? I'm a wheelchair user, and that is the aspect of disability which is my lived experience. And it was for that reason that I started Accessadvisr. I understand, that it was set up with regard to sort of a focus on wheelchair users. And as it's sort of developed over the years, I want it to be more inclusive of other disabilities. That's why it's great to have you on board, someone with a disability that isn't so visible and can give me another view and give the business another view of a lived experience, a different perspective of disability, and that's what I want to do. Accessadvisr has been going for quite a long time now, over 10 years. It's sort of bobbled along, and I feel that there's something there. There's still something there. I just haven't got the right business model yet, but I feel there's something there that we can help take this forward. And I think widening it to different disabilities, that's going to be the way forward for us. I'm disabled. I'm very frustrated with accessibility issues over the years. I'll not deny that they've got better, but when I started, it was the kind of thing that drove me, and it drove me mad, and it drove me into setting up the business.
I totally agree with you, Rob, because you know, people now, government as well as private organization, they are thinking about accessibility. When I came here in the UK in 2004, it was such a long time ago. I did not have my disabilities, and I did not fail for it. But when I had my brain tumor surgery in 2009, I became partially disabled. And from that time, I felt that we are not right there. We have to work long. But you are working 10 years now, and still we are not there. If I go to local shopping, some of the places they have wheelchairs, some of the places they have parking, but some of the places, if I go to shop, they don't have any accessibility measures. They don't think about disabled people, so they bypass it. And we have to work together to fix those things, because you may say, okay, I'm a maybe if you give an example of superstore, so I don't care about disabled people, this is not for them, but they don't write it properly. Like, okay, this superstore or this place or this shop is not for disabled people, it's not accessible. But what they do, they write, okay, they do equal opportunities, they do accessibilities, they do all of those things, but particularly it's not there. So I wanted to ask you, how can business take practical steps to improve accessibility rather than pen and paper?
So first and foremost, let's start with, I think you said that businesses aren't there right now, and I would agree. Businesses will never ever be there as such. It's always going to be a moving feast. There'll be changes, there'll be improvements, there'll be technological developments which make things more accessible. But I would say, far from being there, I would say in the last 10 years, or maybe slightly more, we've actually gone backwards in terms of accessibility. We're seeing that disabled people are occasionally considered less than they were in the past. And your question as to how businesses can improve things like accessibility, I think they need to listen to what disabled people are saying about their business. And that's one reason, well, it's a major reason why I felt Accessadvisr would be such a good thing in today's society. I think what I want it to be is a kind of TripAdvisor for disabled people, where the focus is on not on the food was rubbish or the water was too cold, but the accessibility was wrong. And I want to take it forward. And I want more disabled people to get involved and sort of bring forward their thoughts, and we take them to business. And if they want to take it to their business, take it to a business, because the more people you include in your business and in your services, the wider your market is. I mean, that's just obvious. You know, there's a financial reason as well as an ethical and moral reason for improving accessibility.
I do get what you're coming from, but you know, when people think about accessibility, there's a huge investment there. They need to think about properly, plan properly, and then execute their methodology to create accessibility. Big corporations, they are very well ahead. As you talk about TripAdvisor or TV and all other big companies, accessibilities are there. The council, they are prioritizing it. But still, if you think about population, um, they really don't get the core essence of accessibility, because if you have a family members, they are disabled, they understand because they see the living experience day-to-day basis. But some people, if they don't have that experience, they don't feel for it. As you know that I do regular programs, webinars and podcast. Last week I had a comment on one of my podcasts. I was talking about accessibility. I was talking about why we need to support disabled people. Someone mentioned me on there. Go to India, Pakistan, or Bangladesh, and you will see how they treat you. And I think, yes, that comment wasn't proper, because I felt myself a person living in the UK with my soul, and I have the right to stay here and as well as live like other people. And in the contrary, if you think about disabled people, they are the equal to the non-disabled people. Yes, we need some additional supports. We need some additional things that has to be tailored. And you said that businesses, when they think about accessibility, they attract more people and is equal for everyone. But are we ready? Because you're working for last 10, 15 years, and you're disabled before that. So with the community, having still people are saying this kind of odd words, that, okay, go to your country, like go to your country. This is my country. Yes, I have a second. I didn't born here, but this is my country. So still people are using that kind of bad language. What we need to change?
Well, I think we need to, as disabled people, we need to make sure that if we work for an organization, that we're influencing that organization in ways, in any ways they can. So if a business is coming up with a new project and you're a disabled person that works for that business, then make sure that that business is considering disabled people when they're designing things. We need to be in at the start of things, and that applies at government level, at international business levels, national business, and even down to local things, where the saying is nothing about us without us. And I can't speak for your lived experience, but I think it applies that, what we need to do is make sure that we can get involved in any change that's going on and try and improve things. And again, I'll come back to the fact that that's what I think Accessadvisr is for, to try and get us as disabled people involved.
I totally agree with you. And I know that we have, I think, around 1,000 people supporting us with Accessadvisr in Facebook groups, and as well as all our website and social media. So I especially thank all those people. They are supporting Accessadvisr, and we need your support to extend our work, because we have taken some projects. So I and Rob, we are working together to create the next level Accessadvisr. And until we succeed, we will do it, and we will not take rest, because we think that we can create the next level Accessadvisr for disabled people. Like if you wanted to travel any place in the UK, you can find information on Accessadvisr, like the accessibility, food, restaurant, and all other things will be out there. There are lots of tons of information already on Accessadvisr websites. So if you wanted to visit the Accessadvisr websites, please visit Accessadvisr, and as well as record your experience, because we need impartial uh, add-ons from you, that okay, you've been to a place and how accessible they are. And then we can ask them like, okay, we know someone, one of our members been to your place, and that place, I think you can improve these facilities to make them more accessible, make them more happy. Because I went, I talked to you last time, I went to Disney, Legoland, a couple of in May with my son. As I have accessibility issues, it's difficult for me to go around with normal person. Those are not visible. And I found one critical thing, that if you wanted to hire a wheelchair from them, they charge money. So it's not thing. And some of the things aren't accessible as well. So uh, this kind of experience, if we can get an honest review, we can add them to the Accessadvisr website, and we can also write to the authority of the particular business that, okay, you are doing a great job, you are earning lots of money, that's okay, that's not a problem, but think about accessibility, think about those people, or design something for disabled people they can enjoy. Because most of the ride, I think of the 90%, 80%, 90% of the ride I've been through there, not made for disabled people. So next question: what are the most common mistakes made in public or commercial accessibility design?
Okay, I will answer that. I just want to come back to your point, an earlier thing that you raised about 1,000 people on our Facebook group. That's a great number, but it's still really small in the great scheme of things. And if we want to have a successful business that's owned by, run by, and working for disabled people, then we need loads more people to come and join us. And that's what we're here for. I'm not the expert. You're not the expert. We're all experts in our own disability and our own lived experience. So, please come on board and join us. And together we can grow this business and make it something that works for disabled people. Now, I think your question was the big mistakes that businesses make around accessibility. Well, I think the physical aspects of accessibility are important in terms of, you mentioned Legoland and the rides that are not accessible. I think it's not just the physical act of being there. I think these things start from designing ticketing websites that aren't accessible. So many organizations now, you have to buy tickets online, or if you buy a ticket, you can't buy it as a disabled person with a carer online. You have to go to another ticket office, and they take ages, or the systems are poorly designed so that you can't buy a wheelchair accessible space with your helper. And I'm sure there are issues that other disabled people face, hearing impaired, or vision impaired people with disabilities that face issues with the websites. They're not clear, they're not easy to read, they don't scroll well, the text is the wrong contrast. I don't know all of these issues. I'm only an expert in my own particular place. So, come along, share your disability and your issues with us, and we can put right those businesses and hopefully help them. We're not there to just criticize for the sake of it. We're there to make constructive comments and provide useful feedback. So many mistakes that organizations make, I think, can be put right with user involvement.
I
Did I
totally
answer your question properly?
Yes, I totally agree with you, because I know there are disabled designers. I know there are brilliant disabled people, architect, artists, software developers, and many other characteristics. You can name them in every dimension and domains. But when people they are thinking about disability, either you need to know or have experience working with disabled, or you are disabled. This, if you don't have these two things, you can't design a proper place for them. I have sensory impairment. I cannot go to a loud place because if I go to a loud place, I am deaf and I have short vision. So if I'm designing something for a uh, impairment, I would consider like, okay, this could happen to them. So when they are designing such things, it has to be like longitudinal research. Like, okay, if you are thinking designing a place, you need to think all those characteristics who can come here. I understand it's a lengthy process and expensive process, but you can tailor things. Maybe this is suitable for these 5 domains, not everyone. So then we know that yes, this is not for me. It's
That's
clearly defined.
absolutely, and I agree with you that nothing will ever be fully accessible to everyone. There will
Mhm.
always be things that that I can't do, whether I like it or not. The cost of making something accessible would be prohibitive for that organisation. But things like recently, I went to an attraction. I'm not going to name it. I'm not going to say it on here. But I went there and I paid a very full price. And in the end of the day, when I got in, I could only go on a very small percentage of rides. And to me, that is just, that's wrong. Why should I be asked to pay a full amount when I can only enjoy less than half, probably even less than a third of the experiences on offer? So, I
Mhm.
understand that those rides will never be accessible to me, but then I think, there are adjustments that you can make, and one of those is not charging someone the full price for experiencing that entertainment.
That's a great suggestion, Rob. So thank you everyone for joining today's live webinar. I hope you're enjoying our talk. And if you have any question, feel free to ask us through the comment box. I know that we had a little bit time to preparing this webinar. And we needed this because we need to talk about Accessadvisr. We need to introduction and a lot of other things. So that's why we are doing it. Hopefully, from next month, as we are doing second week of each month, uh, Tuesday, 11 to 12. So stay tuned to our Facebook pages and all other things. LinkedIn, YouTube, you will say what we are doing. We're going to be bringing people here as well. So we're going to be talking about many disabled people, um, regardless of their race, gender, and age. Uh, we wanted to value everyone and we wanted to hear from them, their experiences and their how they manage if they go out. Because, Rob, sometimes if I wanted to go somewhere, I don't go there. Why? I know that that won't be accessible for me. So uh, you see, that's many disabled people, they don't go out. There was a BBC news about accessibility. Like, if someone wants to go to work, they can't. There isn't any accessible buses. There isn't any accessible road. There isn't any accessible places they can go to from place A to place C. So if the government they want disabled people to get into work, they have to fix those problems first. Otherwise, it's going to be chicken and egg. Who is doing what and what will come and how we're going to fix these problems. So I will continue my conversation. And Rob, my next question: what role does lived experience play in design accessible places?
I think the more that we listen to the views of disabled people and our own particular lived experiences and feed them in to businesses, we can help shape the future. And the point that you touched on about government, I think, is very important. Um, getting the infrastructure right is important as well. When I used to work, um, thanks to Motability, I was able to get a van that I could drive myself to work. Before that, I used something called Access to Work, which helped pay for taxis to get me to work. And now I understand, from other people that access to work is under threat. And I think that's something, I mentioned that, we're going backwards in these things, and we need to help disabled people get to work. Before I retired, I had a job for 32 years, thanks to help from the government and help from my organisation. And the infrastructure is key. When I used to go to London, I could get a bus every 5 minutes. I could get on the tube. I could get a train to London, and it was easy to get around London. But here, where I live on the south coast, the roads are rubbish. The pavements are poor. You sometimes wait an hour for a bus, and if you're lucky, it will turn up on time. And so getting to work, although I've done my time going to work, for other people, that makes it more difficult. And government and businesses need to look at that and listen to their disabled employees or potential disabled employees and ask them what they need.
That's a great answer. Rob, we have a question from one of the viewers, and he asked, how can digital accessibility be improved alongside physical infrastructure?
Well, thank you for that question. I think it is key because we're just moving rapidly into an increasingly digital world, and I'm facing things like this now where I'm trying to buy a season ticket. Let's say I'm trying to buy a season ticket for my football club. I won't tell you which one it is because you'll all switch off. But I'm trying to buy a season ticket, and I've got the option to either buy a paper ticket or have it streamed to my phone every match. Now, I'd love to have it streamed to my phone, but for me, holding a phone or attaching it to my wheelchair, it makes it that little bit more difficult. So it's trying to find ways that we can fine tune. Let's not just send it to everybody's phone and expect them to be able to understand it or use it even very easily. I can use a phone, but setting it up, and like I've got one beside me here, I've got it on a music stand. Now, when I go out, I have to attach it to my chair. So addressing the idea of digital accessibility, I want to have it on my phone, but I also want it to be easy so that I can use it and not put me off buying an accessible ticket. And again, that's about inclusion. And again, going back to the design, I think it's getting disabled people into the digital accessibility design world. They may not be programmers, they may not be system analysts or whatever they're called today, or geospatial engineers, but let's get disabled people involved, because what they are is experts, and what we are experts in disabled people.
Yes, I totally agree with you, because as I described earlier, because you're going to be designing something for disabled people. So if you do not keep them in the loop, then the things you're going to be designing, it will not fit for purpose. You might design something for some reasons. They might fit for purpose for other people's. I know you cannot tailor your methodology to fit every disabled people. That's not possible, and that you cannot build something like that. But if you consider the majority of the people, like or maybe few people, like we have made it accessible for this genre, wheelchair user probably, or maybe people they have like vision impairment, or maybe people they have hearing impairment. So if you consider these three domains, you will cover many people, isn't it? So when you're designing something, include them to the loop, ask them what they want, and then the design features going to be improved in relation with accessibility alongside with digital and physical one. As you described that, I would say it's a gap, because people, if they don't have any limbs, if they want that digital receipt to store on their phones, if they to go to an accessible place, and if they cannot find it or they cannot use it, there's no meaning of sending them a digital receipts if they cannot use it. So you need to make it accessible. AI is there. uh, you can do voice search, or you can do image recognition. You don't need to send anything. If you go somewhere, the system will recognize by your image. Full accessibility. You don't need to talk. If you cannot talk, you don't need to do anything else. So I think we need to work alongside with the organization to make it accessible. And I think if any of the organization or councils, they are listening or watching this webinar, feel free to contact us. We have people within our community. Most of them are disabled, and they will be happy to work with you to make accessible places. Rather, it doesn't matter. It is a shopping mall or a football ground or any other places. So thank you everyone for joining today's live webinar. I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui, and I have Rob Trent, and we are talking about Accessadvisr, the initiative that we are working together to bring accessibility to people and for people. My next question, Rob, as you are a mouth artist and people know about that, how art and creativity help in breaking accessibility barriers?
I think that's a difficult one because my personal experience and my lived experience of art is that, I paint primarily because, I love it. I also paint for the mouth and foot painting artists. So I produce cards and I produce pictures for calendars and things like that. How does it help? How does creativity help accessibility? I think it shows to me that, given the right sort of environment and setup, I can be the artist that I want to be, the artist that I dreamed of being. So, for example, we're here in my studio today. I can't show you it now, but I've got an easel which was made by a group called Remap, and they help disabled people make equipment for them. It's voice controlled. It moves the easel up and down on my command using, I won't say the name, but using the Alexa. Well, I've said it now, Alexa, just in case it goes off. And it moves the easel up and down or left and right. And it means I can paint and I can be more creative. I can create bigger pictures. I also, in my studio, I've got a voice controlled speaker, which means I can listen to music when I want. But how does art help? Well, I hope that it shows that when I show my art on Instagram or on YouTube or on Facebook, that art is helping me be accessible in the art world, that I'm creating work that is just as good as anyone else. And I hope that it shows non-disabled people, especially, that disabled people, given the right environment, can create beautiful art. I'm not saying my art's beautiful, but I'm sure there are other disabled people out there that do create beautiful art.
Thank you, Rob. And we have our second guest now. We are nearly end of our session, so thank you very much, Deborah, for joining today's live webinar. We are talking about accessibility. We're talking about how we can make accessible places. So I wanted to drag you to the conversation and wanted to ask you a questions regarding accessibility. What do you think that we aren't there? What's the main constraint, like keeping us separate from the mainstream and disabled people?
Sorry, I didn't quite hear that.
Oh, so I'm asking that what is the main difficulties for getting accessible places?
Well, for me, it's mostly physical.
In what way?
Well, just some places aren't wheelchair accessible.
Do you
Or they
find? Do you
say
find?
they are. They say they've got little steps. To me, be accessible. I've got to be able to manage on my own.
And I think that's one of the founding reasons why, you know, I started Accessadvisr. It was exactly using that excuse that businesses get. They'll say, "Yeah, it's accessible. We've just got a tiny step," and
Yeah.
they don't realize, you know, how a wheelchair needs
Operates.
and a big step is no good at all for a powered wheelchair.
They just assume you've got help. But to me, is to be independent needs to be fully accessible.
Yeah. So in relation to that, Deborah, I just wanted to ask you, the knowledge is there, but the people they are creating the accessible places, they are not enough knowledgeable. Shall we say that? Because as Rob, you described that, yes, we are accessible, but we have a little bit of thing that is not accessible. But that makes your life worse because you cannot, with a wheelchair, you cannot cross that barrier.
But also, it makes you feel, if it's not fully accessible, it doesn't make you feel welcome. Makes you feel like they don't really want you there.
Yeah, and again, if I can just sort of butt in, I think you've touched on another very good point for Accessadvisr, whereby when people can rate a place on our website, they can rate it in terms of ease of access, but they can also give a rating on staff helpfulness, because
Yeah.
you know, sometimes you can have a quite inaccessible place and the staff will be wonderful and really helpful and make the experience quite wonderful. On the other hand, sometimes you could have a place that is very accessible and the staff or whoever work there just, you know, are not helpful at all. So I think that's another very good point you raise.
Thank you. Thank
A
you,
lot
Rob.
of it, I found a lot of it about making people aware. They just don't realise.
Mhm.
And
So,
sometimes they need to make little adjustments.
mhm.
Yeah, and
So
I'm sorry I didn't get the link to you earlier, but you're just touching on things that, you know, we did say earlier that people don't realise, and the way to get people to realise is to involve disabled people in the design of these things.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah,
So
I couldn't join earlier. Sorry.
That's okay.
that's okay. So I wanted to ask you, Deborah, uh, if you could introduce yourself, your disability, and what really you want for the places from any business in relation with accessibility that the disability you have.
For me, someone has to be wheelchair accessible and have a wheelchair accessible toilet.
Mhm.
That's the most important thing for me.
Yeah, we can see that there are many places you can see a wheelchair accessible facilities and as well as toilets, but still the design features is not there. So in relation to that, uh, have you ever been invited to any of the work that people are doing nowadays for corporation, for businesses, for council, to talk about how they can make places accessible? Any of you, Rob?
I'll let
Well,
Deborah go first.
I always try to give feedback on places I've been to, and it's quite nice when you get replies as, "Oh, we didn't realise that." And I've also been doing some work with a thing called Barnwood Trust, which works in Gloucestershire. Then they try and make more places aware and accessible.
That's a
Thank
good
you.
initiative, I would say.
In the past, I've done work with the football stadium design council to help come up
Mhm.
with guidelines for, you know, wheelchair users at football grounds, ticketing things. Been involved in user groups. When I worked for my organisation, I did a little bit of work there on the equality and focus group at the football club that I support. I've also previously been a member of the equality and inclusion group. So, you know, there are things that I try and do, because it's easy to just say how you want change, but it's better to get involved and try and, as Deborah said, get in there and work with them to improve. Telling them they're rubbish won't get you any changes at all.
I totally agree.
I try to give constructive feedback to places, and sometimes it's just a matter they hadn't realised, and they make such a difference.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you, Deborah and Rob, because critical analysis and as well as constructive feedback is crucial for changing the settings we have now. If you do not analyze those things, and if you all the time you are just saying that this is complaint, this is complaint, this is complaint, those people, they wanted to make their place accessible, they wouldn't like it, because we have to understand that making accessibility also needs lots of investment. Some people, they might not have that funding, and if the government or local council, they don't help, some of the places they cannot do it. Even if you think of a grocery shop around the corner, can they make it accessible? Maybe they can give wheelchair access, wheelchair people can go over there, but mostly I have seen there it's not accessible because they don't have funding, and they cannot invest that much funding for accessibility. But places like shopping malls, places like recreation places, hotels, and all other places, I have seen that most of them, they have accessibility, but the design feature is not there. They think about, okay, you need to go to the second floor. There isn't an accessible place to go to the second floor. They only have stairs. So a wheelchair user can go to the second floor. And that we need to understand that some of the places they can't. But if places they are utilizing resources like or people like Deborah, you, me, and any other people, and talk to us, they might solve problem for some of us, and that would be great add-on, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that, yeah.
Okay, so we are nearly end of our session. Rob, I have just last question to ask, and both of you, what advice would you give to someone with a disability who wants to become a consultant or advisor for Accessadvisr or advocate for accessibility?
What advice would I give? Firstly, you know, you understand your disability better than I do, better than anyone else does. So we at Accessadvisr would welcome your input. Get in touch with us. That's what I would advise. We want to create a business for all disabled people, where disabled people work for Accessadvisr, where disabled people are, you know, give us feedback on accessibility and give us feedback on our own performance. Are we meeting as a company the needs of disabled people? What could we do to improve? I'm really grateful to Deborah for coming along today, because it shows that, you know, someone out there, Deborah, is interested in what we're trying to do, and hopefully in future we'll get more people to come along. But that's my advice. Get in touch with us. If you want to help us, let us know what you can do, how you can do it, what restrictions there are on you doing it, and we'll see if we can help you. But please just get in touch and, you know, see what we can do together.
Thank you, Rob. So my same question to Deborah. What advice would you give it to the young people? They wanted to become an advocate of disability.
Well, it's just more people that get together, more voices together make more of a difference. Then everyone's needs different. So the more people that can get involved, the better. You've more chance you've got of changing things.
Yeah, that's great. Power in numbers.
Yeah.
I agree. Thank you very much. That's very useful.
So thank you, Deborah, and thank you, Rob.
You're
It
welcome.
was a great pleasure talking to you both. And I think our next month live, we will bring someone to talk about accessibility and talk about Accessadvisr. Together, we are very strong. Alone, we are none. So we need to work together to rise above the everything that we would do, because stronger, more strong we be, more facilities we can create for future generations. So thank you everyone for joining today's
Thank
live
you.
webinar. And
Thank
we
you.
will thank you, Rob, and thank you, Deborah. And I and Rob will welcome you all our next month, second week, Tuesday, live webinar again. And until then, stay tuned. Please like our YouTube channels. We have Accessadvisr YouTube channels. We have a Facebook group. We have LinkedIn pages. So we are everywhere. So if you wanted to support us, you can support us through our social channels. So until next episode, thank you very much and bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.